here's the old water pump housing off the 02 LB7. I'm just working on cleaning the surfaces up with some Scotch-Brite, and then the rest of it I'm just gonna bead blast just to clean it up a little bit. The old water pump housing bead blasted, so it's just cleaned up and ready to put on the truck. So the first thing we're going to be doing is draining the coolant. Like I state in all my other videos, I leave this cap on the coolant tank when I drain it. If you come down here under the right wheel, the coolant plug is right up here, and you're just going to pop that out and it's going to drain out. I got the coolant draining. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to begin removing this fan shroud. It's just going to be the 4 bolts along the top here. And then if you look down in here, there's going to be a clip on this side and then a clip over on the other side. So when you take the 2 bolts out on this side, you're going to pull the TCM up and just set it right there. So now I've removed the fan shroud. I've got this tool from Merchant Automotive I'm going to be putting on here. And I'm just going to hit it counterclockwise with an air hammer, and that'll take the fan right off. Here I got my air hammer, and I'm just putting it right here on the tool, and I'm just going to knock it loose, and then I'll be able to spin it the rest of the way off by hand. Now I got the fan clutch and the belt off, and next I'm going to be removing the fan clutch pulley. It's just this bolt here, there's a bolt here, there's one there, and then you got to take this clip out here, and then there's one more bolt down there. Currently I'm under the truck by the transmission filter, and I'm going to be taking this plate out here, this inspection plate. We're going to be putting this Merchant Automotive tool in to lock the flywheel so we can break that harmonic balancer bolt loose. Here I got the inspection plate out, and I've inserted the Merchant Automotive tool. So I've got a 36mm socket on a breaker bar, and I'm going to be putting it on the harmonic balancer bolt, and we're going to be breaking that loose. That's hard. So we've pulled the harmonic balancer off. Now we're going to work on getting the water pump out of here. We're going to be taking this tube out first, and then disconnecting the hose down here on the water pump, and then there's 2 bolts on the back side right over here, and I'll get you a shot of that. And then there's bolts going around the water pump. There's I'll see if I can get down. There's one there, and there's one down here, and then there's one right behind the tube. We're going to be taking the left front wheel off and the inner fender liner off. So right under here on the driver's side, there's going to be 2 bolts that you're going to have to get to from here. There's the one you're looking at right over here, and then there's going to be one down on the backhand side that you're just going to have to feel for and take that one loose. So I got this tube off now that runs to the top of the water pump. What you're going to want to do is, it sits up in here, you're going to want to take this coolant line off over here first, and then you're going to twist it out and then pull down. That's the easiest way to get this out. We got the water pump out. We got the black hose that goes to the top of it out. We took the bottom hose off, and we took these 2 bolts out down here. We're going to be popping this out next, and it's just going to slide right out, and then we're going to be putting a seal on the back of that and then reassembling everything. Here's the pipe we were just talking about that we were pulling out. It's got a seal all the way on the end. It goes way up to the back side of the engine. This is the part number for that seal that you're going to want to get if you're going to do that when you do your water pump. Not everybody does, but I would recommend it. Here's our new TIG welded water pump. As you can see, it looks very nice. And we got the seal installed, and we're going to be laying that down in there. So now we're going to be torquing the water pump down to 18 foot-pounds. So now I got the coolant pipe seal installed, and I'm going to be inserting this back up into the engine. So now we got both seals installed on the water pump housing, and we're going to be installing it back into the engine. Right now we're torquing the water pump bolts down to 18 foot-pounds. Just going to be 3 of them. So now we're going to be reinstalling the bolts on the back side of the water pump to the coolant pipe, and we're going to torque those down to 15 if we can get a torque wrench in there. We got these bolts on and they're tight. We got the water pump housing O-ring on the top side in, and we got this thing cleaned up, and we got the new O-ring installed on it, and we're going to be putting this back on. Now we're done with the water pump housing. We got the top coolant tube going in, we got the bottom hooked back up, and we got the back side on. So I noticed that there's a little bit of oil on this when I pulled the harmonic balancer off, and I'm just going to put a little bit on it when I reinstall it. That way if I ever take it apart again, it'll slide right off nice and easy. We have a new bolt from Merchant Automotive that we're using. The bolts are torqued to yield, so you're going to make sure you want to get a new one, and you're going to torque that to 278 foot-pounds. So I got a pretty heavy-duty torque wrench here, and it goes up to 600 foot-pounds. We're going to be setting it to 278 like I said. Then we're going to go ahead and torque that bolt down. So first we're going to torque it to 100 foot-pounds, and then we're going to go to 278. We have now hit 278 foot-pounds. So now I'm going to be removing this Merchant Automotive tool, and I'm going to be putting this inspection plate back on. Now we're going to be putting the fan clutch back on. Be careful of this sensor when you're putting the fan clutch back in. You're going to have to unplug it. I left it plugged in, so that way it didn't get in the way of anything when I was working on it. But you're going to want to unplug it and hang it off to the side when you reinstall it, and then you're going to bring it over the fan clutch bracket and then plug it back in. Before we put the fan back on, we're going to go ahead and throw the belt back on first. So now we got the belt back on. If you're curious how it goes, this is it. If you need to take a look at that for a second. So to put the fan back on, we're going to use our tool again and the air hammer, and we're going to give it a couple hits clockwise just to snug it back up. Nothing crazy though. And we're going to be reinstalling the fender liner and the front wheel. So now I'm going to go ahead and put the coolant plug back in, and then we're going to fill it with coolant, check for leaks, and then after we do that, I'm going to put the fan shroud and the TCM back on, and we'll be done. So we're filling the coolant right now. You're going to want to come to the top of the thermostat housing and take this bleeder bolt out right here, and then it'll start coming out of there once it's full. And then you're going to put that in, and then you're going to top it off. Everything seems to be good. We haven't seen any leaks yet, so we're going to throw the TCM and the fan shroud back on. That's pretty much it for this job. If you like this video, like and subscribe. We're going to be doing a lot of how-to videos. We're always working on our trucks, so just stay tuned and there will be more.